Hey, let's do something easy today. Do you guys want to do something easy today? I would like to do something easy today. This is a Chrysler, I believe it's a Town and Country, with the infamous 3.6 liter Pentastar cheese engine, I call it. I call it cheese because the valve train on these things were kind of an issue. There's a couple Achilles heels on this engine that requires some TLC once they reach a little bit of a mileage threshold, you could say. Now, this one, it's here with an oil leak, and it was here primarily due to the AC system being inoperative at 134,692 miles on the odometer. That's why it's in the shop and the hood's up and there's a couple things taken off of it, because I was doing the AC diag on it earlier. Now, we're not going to do any AC filming or anything like that. I've already gone through it, just a couple little leaks I fixed. And while I was in there, I'll show you what I found. Yeah, I did the whole classic while I was in there thing. You also need this, that, and the other, and yada yada. And the this, that, and the other is that guy right there. That's not the oil filter. That's the engine oil cooler assembly. And it's a big old unit that resides under this intake manifold right here. That thing is leaking engine oil everywhere. I see a bunch of it over here, a bunch of it over there, and there's a bunch of it down there, which we can't see because it's dark. So what we're gonna do in this video is we're gonna pull this intake manifold off, fairly easy-ish with the exception of those little bracket fasteners right down there. Those little guys, there's two 10 mils, one right there and one right there. That's kind of the only issue with pulling the manifold off. But we're gonna pull this manifold off. That's gonna give us some access to the valley between the two cylinder heads. And inside that valley is going to reside the plastic engine oil cooler assembly. Well, it's plastic and metal, but primarily made of plastic. And that's the problem with the design, is the heat flexing and the fatigue and the age and the harsh environment that it lives inside of causes that plastic to degrade, which ultimately causes failures of seals and pressurized engine oil leakages. And those things are bad. We don't want those. So today, I'm going to conduct my while I'm in there upsell. We're going to go ahead and replace this engine oil cooler. It's also going to get a complete engine oil change afterwards. A lot of folks, a lot of customers, and I've seen this here as well, is they'll approve the repairs and then on the oil change line they say no. Now, my question is are you guys not interested in the product that I'm offering? Because I get a lot of declines for oil. I primarily will sell just Amsoil full synthetic. It's actually 100% synthetic. There's a difference between full synthetic and 100%. I usually sell just Amsoil 100% synthetic. There's 3 tiers of those, like a good, better, and a best based on additive package, and I generally just install the baseline one. I sell it for, I think, around $11.99 a quart, which is, I think, retail price, or maybe just a shade under. Regardless, I find that to be a fairly decent price for the engine oil. But my question is do you guys think that that's out of line for per quart of engine oil? Are you used to the, the $4.99 quarts, like from the Walmarts or the quick oil change places? Or are you used to like a mid-tier, like $8.99 a quart? My question is my $12.99 or $11.99 a little bit out of line, and is that the reason I'm getting the no's? Because a lot of folks, again, they'll say, hey, I want to do this, but not that. So should I be offering like a synthetic blend? Amsoil has a synthetic blend, which that is a lower price tier. Oh, fun fact, Lake Speed from the Motor Oil Geek YouTube channel did some lab testing, and he, I believe professionally, hello darling, hey. Photobomb, you're here. Hi. I believe professionally he does engine oil analysis for, I think it is a major oil company. I'm not going to say it because I'm not so certain on the facts, but he is a qualified person to do such things. Point being is that Lake did some engine oil analysis comparing the Amsoil synthetic blend that they came out with about 6-7 months ago in comparison with Mobil 1, and he had found that in his laboratory testing the Amsoil synthetic blend outperformed the Mobil 1 full synthetic, not 100% synthetic but full synthetic. It outperformed the full synthetic by a great deal. I forget the exact margin, that the number that he gave me, but it was up there a little bit. What I'm saying is that the blend from one manufacturer was equal to the full synthetic of another, because the full synthetic is a blend. Hence the 100% synthetic that I said earlier when referencing Amsoil's regular product line. I hope that makes sense. So my question is should I offer more synthetic blend because it does meet Mobil 1 standards, and then the rest of those can be 2, 3, and 4 upgrades from the blend? So should I switch my baseline to a blend and lower my price point, or should I keep the regular Amsoil? I'm curious to what you guys think. That's enough market research for the day for me, I think. Let's start pulling this thing apart, because you guys were here for some car work, so we should probably do some car work instead of me selling you oil for your car. So I had mentioned earlier that I had some of the stuff apart. I've got the air box out due to the AC valve being located under the air box, hence the filter over there. So what we're going to do here is continue disassembling the intake. This PCV hose has to go away. I don't need that right now. We're going to remove all these electronical connectors up here for our sensing units. Let's get into that little red locker. There we go. Come out. There. Very nice. Push that back a little bit. See that? That's how we pull those out without tearing them in half. Sometimes they break and you can't avoid it. Sometimes they will capitulate. That's a tough one. There's a little tab there. There we go. Got a vacuum liner right here. Pull that up. And we'll take that harness and just kind of stick that off to the side and keep it out of the way. Now I've taken off those 2 bracket bolts down there that I mentioned earlier. There happens to be a third one back here on the back of this intake. Reach in there with a 10 and spin that nut off. Now these brackets are a real pain, and you're supposed to go down and unbolt them from the cylinder heads. I just bend them out of the way a little bit. If you just get behind that, give it a shove, usually you can bend it. This one I can't get behind though. That one is not gonna bend. No, not that one. I'm gonna have to bend the ones in the front. This one has another 10 right back here. So this is like an angled bracket. It's different on the Jeeps, to my recollection. I do most of these in Jeeps. Well, we're not going to bend it, we're going to flex it. I think flex is a better word. Yeah, we're just going to flex it. A little bit there, a little bit right there. That will be sufficient. So now, I'm going to mosey on over this direction to the passenger-ish side. We're going to pull that little button out. That is a clip. Get under the center with a trim tool here. Lose the centerpiece of it. That's fantastic. And if I had the other side, I'd show you how it works, but I got to fish it out later on. It's down there. No matter. This guy should just pop right off the throttle body. We wiggle it out. Got an intake air temperature sensor right here. See it? There she is. And of course our intake duct. Good opportunity to remove the pine needles. And there's that little push clip business right there. See that guy? So when this is in position, this thing gets shoved down in, pushes this guy outwards, and then whatever this is locked into, it's unable to come back out. See that? Alrighty, so right here we've got a little clamp. These are not pliers, these are clamp pliers for radiator hoses. You get a hold of that guy there, walk that over. Curvy, angular needle nose for more contact. You gotta be careful doing this though, because the needle can poke holes in your rubber. And the consequences of holes in your rubber are untold. Be careful with that. It's a big deal. There's another vacuum line back here. Same thing. Kirby pliers. And this rubber does have some holes in it. I see some dry rot starting to form. Yeah, see that right there? A little bit of dry rot splitting. It hasn't split through to the inside. Oh, yeah, it has. Yeah, that hose needs to be changed out. That's the brake booster vacuum hose. Let me go get one of those ordered right quick. You there?
Yes.
That Chrysler miniature van that I'm working on outside. Will you order for me a brake booster vacuum hose?
Let me write this down.
It's like a little wide dangly thing.
Brake
booster vacuum hose.
Vacuum hose.
Ooh, yes. Would you make that
Hose.
ordered?
Yes.
I got pros.
Okay.
I got pros. We have pros. All right, so hopefully that will arrive fairly quickly-ish. I'd like to replace it because no. Anyway, next we're fully disconnected here on the intake with the exception of the bolts. We've got 2, 4, 6, 7 bolts. 2, 4, 6, 7. Yeah, I think 7 bolts. So yep, 8mm. Let's yank those units out. We've got an electron gun and the Ocho. Why is that not going on? I don't know. I will take these fasteners out with this little impact. I won't put them in with this little impact. See, there's a torque spec on these bolts, but the problem is when these bolts are installed into the lower intake manifold, which is made of plastic.
They're just completely plastic.
Okay. Very similar plastic to the upper manifold. When these bolts are installed, let's see if I can't get one to pop out, which I cannot. I'll show it to you when I get it out. The threads in those bolts are actually going to cut themselves into the plastic in the lower manifold. So it's kind of like a one-time use only sort of deal. Well, when you go to put them back in the second time, I've found that if you follow the torque spec to a T, what it can do on the fatigued plastic is cause this plastic to crush right here. So you keep torquing and torquing and torquing, and it's just yielding the plastic. So what I do when I go to reinstall these is I'll run them down, and then I'll just tighten them by hand until I can sort of witness some compression, or until I feel it's got good clamping force, and then we'll leave it at that. I tend to not follow the actual torque spec to a T all the time because the plastic does yield. So that's an experience-based torquing type of sequence, in my opinion, because we don't want to ruin the plastic. Additionally, the last guy may have potentially installed it with an impact and caused that plastic to crush. A bit of pry action on those brackets we talked about earlier. I've just got to get the bracket past the stud. There's studs in the actual intake. And you can't take the stud out because there's like a big flared like nut or something on the end of it, like not a nut, like a washer. Pop that up. Okay. I feel like I'm missing a fastener. That one. Oh, I am missing one. I can't believe I glossed right over that. I must have been busy talking to you guys. That's what it was. There. And there's our bottom of the intake. Here, that's one of the studs. See how it's got that big flat on it? So you can't just unscrew the stud and just pull the stud out because the flat is there and then the bracket sits in front of it. Same thing on those two rear studs. They've got that big flat. Could have been designed a little better, but it's not horrible, and I don't think they expected these things to come apart all the time. This is interesting. Got a failing manifold gasket. This one right here, look at that. See how it's folded? That's gonna start leaking right through here. We got a potential leaker. And somebody has tried to fix this leaker with some silicone. So we knew this was leaking. We had a cylinder misfire on number 2, and they put RTV in there to make it sealed up. How about that? Well, we're gonna fix that with a set of gaskets, so we're not gonna have that problem in the future. Pluck these guys out, nasty. This one's starting to fail too. There. So now we need to remove the lower intake manifold. It's this guy right here. That's going to bring the fuel injectors with it, so we need to disconnect the fuel line here, all 6 of the injectors, and then this whole assembly will come right on. Let's get after this fuel line right here. Pretty easy. We're just going to push it in, push these little 2 tabs in on the green thing. We're going to slide it out just a wee bit. Now, in case we have some pressure in there, I'll put a towel over it. That way it doesn't spray me in the face. And we had pressure in there. No, it's a form fit line for the vehicle. It has, it's got a check valve. There's a T-junction. It's got a connector going down to what looks like a vacuum pump, and then it's also got another check valve or a pressure sensor at the booster. Let me go ahead and we're gonna pull the injectors real quick, like. Pluck the little red thing up. I'm gonna break half of them. There we go. And then push the little green thing in. I'm at such risk of stabbing a hole in my finger right now. That would be bad. Okay. Yeah, that's gonna be rule number 2. Don't stab yourself at work. Rule number 1 is don't die at work. Rule number 2, don't stab yourself. Those rules are arbitrary and subject to change without notice. At my discretion. There we go. Okay, 3 removed, and I'm gonna go ahead and pluck the harness off of the valve covers, I think. If I can get under there. Walk that right off. Looks like the coils are gonna get removed as well. I cheated those connectors. I went in from the back side and just pulled up on the tab. I had the access. I figured, why push the button when you can pull the tab? Okay. Alright, 3 more injectors. I know you boys cannot see, boys and girls, everybody, and everyone else in between. I don't care. Yeah, I know you guys can't see what I'm doing. Well, we're just gonna get through it and unplug these and move that one out of the way. One more little clippy clip right here. That aside, good. 4 more fasteners. These are Torx 30s. T30, T30. Oh goodness, man, what am I thinking? Wrong 4 bolts. These 4 bolt the fuel rails, I'm trying to speed run this, to the manifold. Those stay. I don't know what I'm doing. There. These ones. More 8 mils. There's 8 of these. 8 ochos. Can't believe I just did that. It's like my first time. I'm still learning. Yeah, that's actually true. never stop learning. 2 more connections with some plastic wire harness holders. 1 more right down there. There you go. Right there. Very good. That's our lower intake manifold with failed gaskets. Look how flat those are. Look at that. Junk. Get rid of those. Also junk, that's nasty. Okay, so we need a negative pressure vacuum induced suction module to clean out all that nasty stuff. So I got the shop vac over here. It's electron induced. It's got a motor. Creates a lower pressure than atmosphere, which will then draw atmosphere into the containment vessel, and if all goes according to plan, that atmosphere will bring some of this dirt and nasty with us. So fire it up, loud noises. Let's get all this crap out of here. There we go. Powering down. Put the intake hose in the output hole. There we go. All right, let's clean this up. I have a product that I like for such things. It is not. It's like not an engine degreaser. But I use it for engine degreasing because it does wonders for such things. This is actually designed as a throttle body cleaner. It's supposed to spray it into your induction system while the engine's running, actually. So it can run down, go over your valves, clean things out, things of that nature. We are gonna kind of soak this guy down, some of this degreaser, then we'll come through and wipe it down. Now I realize that there is contaminants all over the place on these valves. I get it. I know. I understand. I feel you. It's a bad look. No worries, because we're going to clean that stuff out too. Now most of these valves are all the way closed. And I think 1 or 2 cylinders should be open. But we're not sending chunks of debris down in those holes, and we're going to go in there and clean these units out. We're going to spray them out, blow them out, wipe them out. And get as much of this nasty out of here as possible. We cannot expect new gaskets to seal against a bunch of dirt. And if for any reason anybody ever comes in here again, I don't want them going, look at this guy, he didn't even clean all this stuff off. What a hack. If I'm gonna get called a hack, it's gonna be because I did some kind of hacky hack thing. Not from negligence and forgetting to do something. Let's pull our connectors off. We've got a oil pressure right here, and down there the next one, that should be coolant temp, or no, that's coolant, this is oil. I get those backwards every time. And there's also a coolant hose right here. When they're available, I will routinely replace that hose because it's hard to get to, and usually they end up getting oil soaked and they get soft and squishy. So in order to prevent a future failure, I just like to replace it. Now, this is going to be held down with, looks like 2, 4, 5 E-torques. These are E8 inverted torques. In a second, I'm going to tell you why an oil change is mandatory. See, this is an oil cooler as well as the filter housing. The filter's inside of this guy here. Now, because this is an oil cooler, we've got engine coolant and engine oil running through. When we pull this guy up and out, it's going to spill some of that coolant, and that coolant is going to run its way down into the crankcase. There's no avoiding it. Even if you drain all of the coolant out of the engine, it's still Gonna run some of that coolant, come here, down into the crankcase. See it bubbling up right there? Well, that's running down into that oil passage right there. See that? Now, what I'm gonna do, so that coolant can't rinse any debris into here, is we're gonna plug that hole up with a towel, and then plug that other hole up too. There we go. We have one clamp for that hose. There she is right there. Back to those little angle guys again, just for some good grips. Give this thing a bit of a twist, see if we can't break it free. And I can't. Wiggle and pull. Come on. There we are. Very nice. So we can take this abomination of a car part, and it is stuck to the engine block. Yeah, kiddo. Over here. Voila. There she is. And we will be replacing this with a Dorman unit. This is Dorman for the win. I'm going to show you why. Just a momento. Who, me? Yeah, one day. Eventually I am, yeah. Are you going home?
We go home like on Rio.
Not right now. Right now we're looking at an oil cooler. Do you want to see? You want to see in here? Okay, so what this is, put that up there. It's really shiny inside. Look, we have a new oil cap, and we have new gaskets because the old ones were flat and gross, and we have new bolts. See that? And some plugs and some screws. And check this out. This is the aluminum engine oil cooler instead of plastic. Whereas the factory unit just had this as the cooler, we replaced the bottom plastic cooler with an aluminum one. See how it's metal? Super cool. Yeah, look at that one. Plastic and metal. We're gonna get rid of the plastic and install this guy right here.
Are those two metal? Yeah,
they're both metal. So set of gaskets goes here and here. We bolt that guy on, and then another O-ring gasket, and then a few more on the bottom, and this thing's good to go. What do you think about that? Really shiny, isn't it? I like it.
Yeah, can you bring that little
You want me to bring the camper home?
Yeah.
I can bring the camper home.
Today?
Not today. I can't bring it home today. Let me show you guys what she's talking about. Maybe I'll try. Spoiler alert, my 6-year-old ruined one of my surprises. I've got a pickup truck camper shell type of deal over here. It's from Freedom Campers. I learned about these from Power Stroke Maintenance and Harry's YouTube channel. Harry runs a couple of these on his rig, and I want to add this to the back of my dually. We're gonna put some solar on here, and I'm gonna put an AC unit on here, and ideally I want to use this kind of as dry storage, not so much as a camper, but it would be fantastic dry storage for the back of my Silverado project. So I'll make some videos on that thing later on. I have got one in the works, but I haven't completed it yet. But let me know what you think about this preliminarily. Let us go back to the Chrysler now, because the day's ticking on and I would like to be finished. Look, I'm bleeding. My own blood. Back to the vat. Fail. It's not working. Alright, whatever. Free! You can't do that! You burn the building down! Maybe. Nasty! Don't worry guys, there's enough debris and drywall and dust in there that whatever fluid I sucked up is no longer a fluid. Yeah, the inside of actual shop vacs is one of the most horrible, disgusting places ever known by man. Okay, so let's clean those intake runners just a wee bit. One more application, some degreaser. And what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna come in with an air gun, put that in the hole, cover this up so I don't get blasted in the face. This stuff stinks. Gonna blow it out. Not so much to remove things out of it, but we want to make sure there's no liquid pooling up. We don't want to hydrolock the engine. Nice. Okay, so I'm not going to make sure that's all super clean and dry, because once this thing is running, I'm going to take the rest of this can and spray it through the intake, and it's going to run inside the intake, clean the throttle body out. It's going to wick its way through the intake. It's going to grab a bunch of that carbon, pull it into solution, and it's going to pull it through these intake runners and ultimately burn off all that stuff. So everything inside of here is going to be soaking right now in that same chemical, which is going to help it break down once we're back in the engine running condition. So we are now free to move on and continue to reassemble with the new unit. So I'm going to come in here with this towel. We're going to wipe off the sealing surfaces for what you call it, for the oil cooler. That way it doesn't leak right after I put the new one in. It's good. You gotta be careful in there too. These edges can get a little sharp. Not all the time, sometimes. Wipe this guy out real nice like. Good and clean, I like it. So I've got a routine while I'm in there situation here. This is a Mopar cooling temp sensor. That's the coolant temp right there. I've experienced on more than one occasion that either that sensor does not come out, or when it does come out, you put it back into the new unit, and then shortly thereafter you get a circuit failure on it because they're really hard to dig them out. So as a mode of operation, I've decided that every time I do this, we're just going to replace the coolant temp sensors. The reason I got the Mopar one is I've also replaced them with some Chinesium aftermarket ones, and that has turned out to be ineffective. And the aftermarket ones, in my experience, have also been a little failure prone. So we went with the Mopar temp sensor. I have not experienced a similar thing with these oil temp sensors, other than they will leak if you don't apply some sealant to the threads. You know, back to those one-time use only type. This hose is being replaced, but I need to recover the clamps. This is coming with me. Yeah, so we don't need that for right now. This thing can become released. Watch this. Ha-ha! And goodbye. Okay, new unit time. Again, we've been through this. We've got some fasteners, got some gaskets, plugs, some bolts, more fasteners, oil cap. That's the filter. But what we need to concern ourselves with at this exact moment is this cooler and these 4 gaskets right here. Tighten that up. So what we need, are they in the bag? Yeah, they're in there. I hit the rim on the trash can from 2 feet away. Unbelievable. So anyways, here's the those are the 2 gaskets. Don't reuse your old ones if you buy one of these and that's not in the kit. I've seen it before where folks have stolen the gasket sets out of these kits and then returned the kit. And I've also seen it where they've taken the old units and then returned the kit. And I've also seen them where they've bought the non-Dorman aftermarket ones, which is like $200 cheaper than these ones. Bought this one, took the Dorman one out, put the other one in the box, and then returned the kit. So I think the Dorman's on it because they've got this, hey, check your return part sticker that goes on the front of the box. So it's harder to commit larceny with a warning in position. So that's good, I like that. We don't like larceny, that's bad. Costs us all money. So anyway, just check this thing for debris and styrofoam or whatever. You never know what happens in packing. And if there's debris in there, that would not be good. Looks good to me, so pop that guy in position right there. All right, so we're getting ready to install the fasteners here to bolt this unit down. I'm gonna take a little bit of thread lock and drop it on those threads there. I used to put them like on the fasteners themselves, and then I found that it smears and doesn't get down into the hole as well, so I'm just gonna drop it in there. Now, the instructions on these in this kit did not specify or come with any thread locker, but I, for some reason, instinctually just feel like it's a good idea in this specific application. See, in the future, there's really no reason to take this part of the cooler off of the assembly, because if it leaks, you just put a new assembly on it. And it's a high vibration environment, so I feel like some thread locker would just be a good precautionary measure. Normally my rule of thumb is if it didn't come with it from the manufacturer, it doesn't really need it after the fact. Tighten these guys down. And I used the star pattern and kind of step the pressure so as to not put any torque and twisting into the cooler. There we go. That's good. So, take our replacement hose here and the clamp I just dropped. Oh, there it is. Got it. I got it. And this hose is two different sizes on the outlet. You got a big size and a not as big size. Same thing with the clamps. You got a big one and a little one. And I do believe that I had it backwards. Take our pliers right here. Whoa, no. You see that? Tried to run away. In all fairness, I didn't have that thing super tight either. There. There, feels good. Happy with that. Now, take the old oil pressure sender and clean all the oil off those threads, right? I'm just going to take a little dab of RTV sealant, stick it on there. There we go. It works just fine as thread sealant. I'm not going to use thread lock on a sensor. No. So screw this guy in. Now, if possible, I want to index the top of this connector upwards. That way, if anyone has to take the connector loose again, they don't have to fight with trying to mess with the little clip thing. It's right on top and easy to access. Now, this sensor will never get tight. It's not going to bottom out. I feel like one more turn's too much. What do you guys think? One more turn? Nah, I'm not going to do it. I don't feel like one more turn is going to be the best idea. So wipe away the excess right here. That's our coolant temp sensor. They threw some sealant on there in the hole. And if possible, I will index this connector vertically as well. These are smooth face Knipexes. And yes, Knipex is how it's spelled. And I know that because I was in Vegas, SEMA 23, and I was at the Knipex booth, and I asked them, how do I say it? I need to know. And they told me it is Knipex. You say the K, it is not silent. Because it's German. Which that doesn't sound very German to me. But what do I know? I don't work there. Once I get this vertical, that's going to be the end. Don't do that. Stay in there, you. The end of my rotations here. Why? Right, click there. Excellent. Okay, so up top a wee bit, we take our filter, which was supplied with the unit. This is a Chrysler filter, but this is for the, I think, 14 and up year models. There was a filter design change after 2014, and all of these coolers are going to utilize the 14 and up. So if you have a 12 and then you put this in, it's going to have the 14 filter from there on forward. It shouldn't really matter, but it's possible. There's an O-ring that goes here that I almost forgot. It's over here in the box. Take that guy and slip it onto the flat right here. And we're gonna need some lubricant on that O-ring. You guys couldn't see, I'm sorry. There, a little bit of schmoo on there, just some dielectric lubricant. It's fairly inert when exposed to rubber. Give that a bit of a smear. Now when you put these guys on, people will take their 24 socket and just crank down on these caps. That's actually a major contributor to the failure of the plastic units, is this plastic thing has to accept all that torque when you're trying to torque this down. But if you take a look here, this thing is sealed. I could run this car just like this, and it's not gonna have any oil pressure, but, well, it won't filter properly, but it won't leak externally because that O-ring is what creates our seal. It's not how tight the cap is. It's not the threads or the torque on it. It's just the O-ring. So the only thing we have to do is crank that down enough to seat the flat of the cap to the flat of the housing, make it flush, hand click, and that's pretty much it. I'm pretty sure I gave this 15 plus foot-pounds of torque. That's installed how it's supposed to be. So what is left here is some intake gaskets, and then of course the bottom O-ring gaskets, these 5 right here, for the bottom of the unit. So let's give it a flip real quickly like. What I'm going to do, we're going to throw a little bit of grease in those holes, not because we need to lubricate the gaskets, because I don't want them to fall out when I go to assemble this. So we'll put 2 little dabs in there on each O-ring area. Okay, you take the ring, just stick it in wrong hole, there we go. And that grease is going to help just hang on to that gasket, which cannot fall out. That one there. These all the same? Nope. One is smaller than the other. There we go. And one more O-ring right here. That guy's critical and it's easy to neglect. It's just going to slip right into that groove, and I'll take some of this leftover grease. This one should be lubricated, especially if you went in there and wiped out the hole. and clean all the oil off, because if you tear that, then we will be right back to square one, leaking engine oil. There we go. Okay. So this guy is pretty much ready for install. So let's go slip it back down into position here and get her bolted in. Stay. So I went in some brake clean and a little bit more suction action to get rid of some of this oil residue that's in there. That's about as clean as I think we're gonna get it, unless I want to pressure wash the thing, which we're not gonna do. So what we do next is slip this guy in. Now remember that little O-ring spout thing in the front? That's gonna be like our base. Our baseline area for installation here. So get the O-ring set up, push it down. It's nice and even sitting on all the gaskets. I think that looks good. So we'll drop in all the fasteners and then tighten this thing down. 5 replacement fasteners. Drop all those in. And I'm wondering if the lack of fasteners on this also contributes to the warping and leaking effect. And no thread lock on these 5 fasteners either. Those are going straight into the engine block, and I don't want to put thread lock in an engine block. Okay, let's run them down. Get on there. See how it moved? That's the gaskets compressing. Last one right here. There we go. I'll finish this off by hand. See, there's enough mass in the tool where I can't get a feel for what it's doing. So spending all the energy and the force to move the mass. So doing it by hand, you know exactly what your fastener's feeling like and doing and how tight it feels. Alright, that guy's in. Let's get the clamp for the hose down below. Screwdriver, clamp, and pliers. We'll slip the clamp over the hose, pull it back. I know you can't see that hose going on, I think, because there's smaller hoses in front of it. But she's in position and clamped. Excellent. Take our sensors, get those guys clipped back in position. Nice. Okay, that's all looking good. Let's get the manifold set up next. We're gonna do the lower. Real simple like. Pluck these gaskets out, put new ones in. That's disgusting. Oh yeah. They're so flat, they've developed a lip on the end. That's crazy. That one just broke right in half. That one came out okay. This one's super flat. I'm surprised this thing did not have vacuum leaks, to tell you the truth. I really am. Because it should have. Maybe it did. Nobody noticed. Also quite possible. get all the oil out of there. I just found a cut on my finger. It's right here. So these gasket sets, there's two different styles here. You got the square ones, then you got these oval ones with the hump on them. We are naturally using the humped gaskets. That hump is to accommodate the area for the fuel injector. You can see the injector right here. So then these guys, these should stay in without needing any grease. They've got these little raised ridges on them. See that little ridge running around it? Those ridges are designed to kind of grip the inside of the groove here to keep this gasket in place. So we don't have to add any sealant to it, no grease or anything. Those other gaskets, those little round ones on that thing, they have those ribs as well. But in my experience, they just didn't hold very well. I mean, you can put them in without any grease, of course. I just like to do it that way. Okay, this guy's good. I wonder if I can do something about this right here. It's baked on pretty good. It's almost like a glue and not a sealant. Oh, I see. I see what we're doing. This manifold's broken. Look right here. There's a crack right here. See that? This manifold has become broken before, and it's been fixed with some kind of glue. This isn't even RTV. It's actually kind of brittle. It almost feels like JB Weld maybe. Yeah, did you hear that crack? I think that's fixed with JB Weld. Okay, well, I don't have a replacement manifold here, and I don't have all day to get another one. So, we're gonna put a new gasket on that, and then fill it full of JB Weld. Ah! Oh, the irony of calling myself a hack mechanic earlier in this video. I'll tell you what, we're about to do some hack mechanic stuff right here. So the very thing that I said, ooh, why'd you do that? Well, now I know why they did that, because the plastic's broken. So we're just gonna go ooh and do the same thing. I'm gonna throw some sealant in there, just like so. It would probably be okay because the JB Weld took up the broken part, but I'm not gonna risk it. So we're just gonna stuff some of that in there, just like that. Now it can't leak. There we go. That should be good. Yeah, I don't really exactly care for that, but we'll let it slide. Why is this here? Did I miss an O-ring? I don't think so. Huh. No? No, I didn't. So why is that in there? Zzz, brain broken. I'll figure it out. Give me a minute. Gaskets below, gaskets above. So this guy, I'm just gonna drive it right in right here. Right here, right now. There. Okay. So let's get these little guys started. A couple turns out of them. Just make sure they're in the hole. Yipper. Star pattern with the 8mm. Get them all started first. Get out of there. So, whoa, drop my tools. I'm gonna pull this guy off, put that guy back on, grab the ratchet, check them by hand, make sure I like them. Good. 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 I didn't call those last ones good. Doesn't mean they're not good. I just didn't say it. All right, these are all set. I like it. Happy with that. Now, do some plugging in action. This is that home stretch time. This is my favorite part of the day. The part when it's all coming together. This is also the part everybody fails at. That last little extra, like making sure all your little bracket things are put back in place, all the wire connectors are back. This is what people forget or ignore, is they leave stuff like that disconnected. And I get it, it's because a lot of times you find these cars and they're like, well, those are always broken off anyway, so why bother? Well, if they're not broken off on this one, then you should bother. And then if it's not broken off, then you should bother to do something, or if it is broken off, you should still bother to try to unbreak it, because those clips are there for a reason. Diesels, for example, and vibration especially, if you don't put the things on where they're supposed to be secured, that component's going to vibrate everywhere. Vibrations cause fatigue. Fatigue causes things to break. So in a way, if you don't put those on, you're helping break the customer's car. And that would be bad. Why won't you go on, fuel line? I don't know, but now it's on, so we're good. Okay, that's all good, that's on. I need to pull this guy off because I have a new one. Check valve. It's a good check valve, which is fantastic because it did not come with the assembly. There we go. Talk about brittle. Wow. That was on there. And down here is that little blue connector. Okay, we've got our new hose from Mopar. We're gonna put the sensor back on it. Plug that down into that pump. I think that's a vacuum pump. I think. Anyway, up top, we'll plug it into the firewall on the booster. I might need to put some lube on it. No, it's in. It went in. Okay. And then, where's my wire? There it is. That's there, good. I feel like I have this upside down or something. No, that's right. Okay. So now, take this one, throw it in the junk pile. Goodbye. And we're in a good position, ready to go. Let's get the upper intake reinstalled. So, keeping that in mind, or that bracket in mind, these two studs drive into those holes right there. Okay. And then we just need to set this down and then clear those front bracket guys. One of them is bent back out of the way. The other one I need to pry it just a wee bit. About there. This way some. I think one of the screws is misaligned and hanging me up. We'll go in here with a socket, try to pull that screw upwards. problem. There, got it. So, let's make sure these fasteners are all in line. I think they are. Yep, that one's digging in. Digging in. Like literally they dig in. Feel that one hooking up. Good. That one there is good. Okay, so all the bolts are in on the manifold. They're not tight. That stud is in the hole. That stud is in the hole, and those two in the back side there are in the hole. So I'll throw the nuts on those ones. We can plug in our vacuum hose right here. That goes there. Put the clamp in position. Beautiful. This guy right here on the manifold. There's our vacuum source. Good. Next harness, I'm just going to clip on here. Here and right through there. Nice. I got a vacuum line stuck down there. Beautiful. Everything's looking fantastic over here. That's out of the way. Everybody's plugged in. I just got to tighten down those fasteners and then get the bracket bolts. All right. Okie dokes. Let's just make sure that I feel like they're good. 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 That's exactly what I like. It feels really good. I got them just right. Yep. That one was a little too tight. But we're not crushing the plastic. That's what I wanted. And it's torqued enough where it's not going to come off. So next up, we got one little PCV hose. Plugs into the cylinder head cover down here on the right, and then over here I've got to throw in the air box. I'm gonna go ahead and throw that air box in, and we're gonna spill and fill some oil out of this thing real fast, and I'm gonna skip cut to the chase and skip ahead to the startup. So give me just 1 second. You guys wait right here and I'll be right back. So I was finishing putting some oil in this, and I noticed something interesting. See, the upper radiator hose on this thing is in Chrysler service mode. See how the hose is on this side, this little dealio here? We often take these and tuck them over there to get them out of the way. This actually belongs over here. It appears that the last guy who was in there forgot to do such things. So now, put that guy back. We can go ahead and give this thing the restart. Hey Rod, will you do me a solid and go in there and start this engine so we can see the first start of...
Does that involve me turning the key?
It's got like that Mercedes style plastic key. Yeah, I saw you! It's got the Mercedes style plastic key thing. Do you know how to turn keys, or are you a push button guy?
I'm a push button guy.
Oh, well, it's got a key, you'll figure it out. Just turn it like the way a clock goes, you know what I mean?
Turning!
Yeah, fire this thing up, see what she does. This is our first start. Ah, gorgeous. She runs. I love it. No leaks. You got oil pressure? Probably. I don't hear it.
Have any lights on.
No gauge in there. You're good. All right, kill it there, brother. Alrighty, folks. We're all good here. I need to throw some the engine cover back on, and we're gonna spray this thing off before we give it back to him. I gotta let it sit overnight because we're gonna recover the refrigerant one more time to see if we actually did end up with a leak. I found the thing discharged, but I couldn't find a leak, so I'm not really certain what the dealio is. So we're gonna recover this again in the morning, weigh what comes out versus what I know I put in, and using mathematics will determine whether some refrigerant has escaped or not. So that being said, guys, I've got nothing more to offer on this video other than a thank you all for watching this video and staying here all the way to the end. Since you are here to the end, I'm going to assume that you like this video. If in fact my assumption was correct, I would only ask of you to communicate that to me effectively by engaging that like button down below. Feel free to drop me a comment or two while you're down there. And most importantly, do not forget to have yourselves a fantastic day. See you guys later in a video, in a day, in a transmission.